Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Higher Truth. Today I have an interview here. I'm just really honored just to have anybody up here. We're in my bug out location. And I have a person who came up here to help me out with some stuff, make some deliveries, check out the place, and getting away from some of the insanity today. The lady with me sitting across the table from me, her name is Corinda. And Corinda has a unique story, but it may not sound so unique to some of you because many of you are going through some of the things that she has gone through. We're so grateful to have her. Just a little bit about her. Corinda actually founded a nonprofit organization to help homeless veterans. And there were a lot of people helping veterans with their medical bills, but nothing being done to help the homeless. So she started a nonprofit just to help the homeless veterans with a strong emphasis on rehabilitation and treatment for post-traumatic stress. She has come across the copper because of a personal need, but also because she knows some people that we know that are involved in the production and the distribution and the study of this copper one, which I've talked about many times. She suffered a really horrible weightlifting injury, went to a chiropractor who was pretty eager to do a manipulation, didn't do it right, created even more injuries, and it tore her spinal cord lining. She was leaking spinal fluid out of her nervous system. She actually had a compression of a nerve and 30%, she can explain it better than I do, but possibly a 30% loss of function in one leg. She also experienced a wound under the eye along this road, which put a laceration requiring stitches right on this pretty lady's face. So then, of course, copper, supposed to heal wounds, became a very, very important compound in her life. She also, through the severe injury and extreme emotional stress going through a breakup of a marriage, she started losing her hair. And that was one thing that we talked about all the time, about hair replacement, scalp rejuvenation. She also likes bodybuilding, but because of the injury, she sees weights as potentially harmful. She's developed a completely and totally unique routine that combines Tai Chi with ballet and yoga and even some other stuff. It helps with neurological rehabilitation because much of her exercise routine involves balance. She is starting many different websites. She owns some very special names to websites: Expect Wellness, Expect Better Skin, and I do believe she's even starting one called Expect Better Sex, and maybe if there's time we can get into that. Yes, I'm blushing already. So we also want to talk a little bit about a cold sore remedy. She's got something here that she liked what I was making and tried it and thought it worked great. So we'll talk about that product. You can't buy it anywhere on the planet except through affiliated channels, hers or mine. And channels meaning network. So, and there's other things we would like to discuss and talk about at length with this lady. So without any further ado, let me welcome the very beautiful, the very capable, very intelligent Miss Corinda.
Ah, thank you.
You're welcome.
As you know, I with a nonprofit. First of all, I want to just go back and explain that, because a big part of my drive and my mission with you is derived from my work with homeless veterans and in trying to discover solutions to problems, right? So when I discovered the copper, I started taking it, I started noticing things, and then I met you shortly after, and you actually helped explain the science of the body and the copper and how it works to me in such a way that it just hit home. And without my science background or degree, I understood it because I was beginning to experience a lot of what you were saying. This copper had the potential to do, and so it just became a daily thing, or just a mindset where I'm like, I'm going to prove this copper right, or I'm going to prove it wrong. And so far, I can't prove it wrong.
Well, that's how I got to where I am. I started out trying to prove some of these conspiracy theories as wrong, and lo and behold, I was not expecting to find out what I found out. I really would thank you for your work with the veterans. There was a lot of hard work. I watched you move megatons of furniture out of your warehouse, and that's after your injury.
Yeah.
So
that's repaired, and that's without payment. So
didn't they want you to do surgery?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So what happened was in 2007, I want to say, I sprained an SI joint. I blew a disc. I did squats way too fast, trying to show off. I don't really know, but I'll tell you. Oh, and I had nerve compression, but I didn't have the nerve compression until I went and saw the chiropractor. And I walked out of his office feeling like I was kicked in the leg, and it didn't go away for 7 years. Not even after one failed surgery. So chronic nerve pain is awful, and then chronic pain in general. And even it wasn't just my injury anymore, though. It was my shoulder. It was my inflammation was all out of control. I was on pain meds. I was told I needed a fusion, but I was too young. So basically, my choice was to wait it out until I'm old enough for a fusion and just be on pain meds, try stem cell, whatever. So when I started taking this copper, it was maybe 3 or 4 weeks later that I realized I had gone a few days really without not just pain, but without the pain medication that I was on at the time, or it was a non-narcotic, but it was one that you become dependent upon. And so I found that fascinating that all of a sudden my inflammation was gone, and I was forgetting, medications that my brain and body had been attuned to taking on a regular basis.
So it sounds like you were coming off the pain meds finally then.
Well, I was coming off the pain meds, and they gave me that horrible Suboxone, which is 10 times worse, and that's a whole other episode, and what I want to do in that, the drug addiction and, abuse recovery area. But I found that fascinating, and it just triggered my inclination to want to learn everything that I could about the copper one and test it to its limits. And so yeah, that's
cool. Now I was experimenting with this copper long before I actually went to work for Midos Energy, and what I was trying to do was make something that would make hair grow. Mm-hmm. And so I was mixing it with some of the stuff that was in your original formula that we're going to talk about later for topical applications.
Yeah.
But I added like vitamin C to it. I added vitamin C. Let me see, aloe vera, really concentrated aloe vera juice. I think that's got to be good for your scalp. So, and then I started getting peach fuzz on my bald spot. So we wanted to see how much the copper was really doing it, or was it everything else? And of course, you can make things work better by adding copper to it. But you tried copper on because you had alopecia, you had alopecia-like symptoms. You were having hair loss. You were receding your hairline. Am I correct?
Yes. Oh yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't true blue alopecia. You weren't, right?
Yeah. I mean, because I'm 40. I'm 40 years old. I was getting really bad acne, which for like the first time in my life, which that's not fair. You know, if you make it to 40 and you don't have acne yet,
should be done.
That's not fair. And I tried the pellets once. I tried the hormone pellets. I hated them, and again, after meeting you and reading all about this copper and knowing what its potentials in hair regrowth was, I was like, well, shoot, I'm going to give it a try on my hair. I'm going to give it a try on my face. I'm going to give it a try on my injuries.
So, hair on you, how were you applying it to your hair?
Our beautiful, raw, proper copper one that you and I both love and use. And I was using a carrier oil. That was the typical application, really. And then that was a very expensive application. It was very impractical. And we all know that when we add a powerful peroxidant like CBD to copper 1, that it can, empower both molecules. And so I think the best results was when we made our, that formula. And that's something that we eventually will go on and expect better skin, but it will go on and expect better products here real soon.
Yeah, and I have so much fun playing with that stuff, and I know you do too. Experimenting. My hair product, I was using ozonated coconut oil. I was running ozone, which is a reactive oxygen, high density oxygen.
Love oxygen.
Trapping it in the coconut oil, mixing that with the copper. Everybody predicted it would oxidize the copper, which it didn't. And so, if we ever get to the point where we get a firm formula, which we're almost there, and we get to a point where we can protect the patents, then I think using the ozone in place of CBD just for skin repair, just for hair growth, I think that would make it cheaper, less expensive, because the CBD runs a little pricey if you get a good high concentration. What amazed me though, what first turned me onto the copper was that it was being used in a cream, and my first experience with it was topical. And I was seeing it take away nerve pain in 10 minutes, and after repeated application, start to work and actually seem like it was healing the inflammation in joints. And that's how I met you.
Yeah. Oh, you met me right when I was just beginning to be like, no way, this is already... when you have chronic pain and inflammation, it's amazing how bad inflammation affects your body. And
Your whole body.
Yeah, and I think you just somehow become subconscious used to it. And when you realize it's gone, all over, it's gone, wow. That is, it's kind of like, what else can you do in life? Everything.
Yeah, I relate to that because I had a chronic infection for years, and they just kept wanting to do the same thing, more antibiotics. Yeah. After you've been on antibiotics for 15 years, you're tired of antibiotics and your system is not the same. And so, yeah, I got rid of my problem by turning to a more natural realm, and that'll probably get me kicked off of YouTube. But
no, that's why I admire you so much. And honestly, you know this. You've been a mentor. You've taught me not just a lot about science and chemistry, the body, how it heals, but your conspiracy theories, but you've taught me about the universe as a whole. I want to thank you for that, by the way. And I really want to just really reach out to the audience listening right now, and somebody needs to get this man a laboratory. There's way too many incredible things that he's discovered that it's like, oh my gosh, this is world changing in a scary way.
Well, right on that note, then you're thinking about putting a cold sore formula up.
Yeah.
We can't call it a cold sore treatment, but we can call it anything we want. We can give it whatever name we want.
Oh yeah.
And so tell me what your experience is with this stuff that is going to be on your website.
And in fact, it's a very high percentage of Americans, like 98% of us carry that. Is it a herpes 1?
Herpes simplex 1.
Yeah. And, and same with Epstein-Barr, same with, which is for mononucleosis. And, we have all sorts of other...
and the spirochetes in the
the spirochetes, Lyme disease. Oh my gosh. And then it also makes you question, going back to the inflammation and the root cause of that. Another show, another time. So lip herpes, so positioned an idea and how I could treat a cold sore. I've got kids. I've had weak immune systems.
So I fixed you a little concoction because you started to get a little breakout.
Oh, it started to, and I knew it. I knew it wasn't a pimple. I'm like, shh.
So I said, here, let me try this. And I, like a little mad scientist, I whipped up something. And what happens? As soon as you put it on
First of all, I'm pretty sure that I was like really skeptical and like a little bit like, are you serious? This is going to hurt. And you're like, yeah, let it burn. And I trust him. I don't know why. I do know why. I always have. But So he tells me to do something, and I do it because it always works. And so that cold sore stopped developing. You saw it because we were together even the next day, and you saw that it had retracted, and it just never even fully developed. It was incredible.
I've been using that formula since I read a book by Linus Pauling, and that was back in the 80s.
Yeah.
So I've been using that formula for the 80s in case I ever got a cold sore, which are rare, but when you get really beat down and you catch a cold, sometimes they try to break out. I've never had a completely full cold sore in 15 years, because as soon as I feel one coming on, I put that little remedy on there.
Yeah.
And it actually, if you get it early enough, it reverses the cold sore. It doesn't cause scabbing, and the next day you don't even know that you even had a cold sore if you get it on soon enough.
Yeah.
Was that your experience?
Well, and that well, absolutely. And so that again, I wish we had a lab. I wish. Yeah, there's so much more that I'd love to do to see how this copper in taking daily over time eventually does within the blood to help remove some of those.
Well, yeah, let's stay with that, because you founded a website called ATP Booster, and we know that copper enhances the electron transport process, which makes ATP. ATP is the fuel of every cell in your body, with maybe some alternates for your heart, some alternate molecules. But basically ATP is what fuels your body. And so if you were able to make sure that electron transport process was operating at full capacity, then you're thinking this would be a really added benefit for athletes, for endurance.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when you are feeding your cells proper molecular nutrition, and with this copper 1, it is able to access an additional 30 ATP from the electron transport chain, as you were saying. And so what are the potentials behind that? And we know from looking at sports sciences that it really does come down to how you're fueling your cells, because if you fuel your cells properly, you're able to then activate the other processes that need to occur afterwards, like the healing repair. I mean, your muscles have to heal to build.
And that's amazing too, because as athletes we're taught that our second wind in endurance is what wins the race. It's that lactic acid cycle, which you don't want to make too much lactic acid. That's actually harmful to your tissues. So if you could prevent, if you could extend your first wind by 30-40 minutes, then you really haven't needed your second wind yet.
This is why this is really kind of incredible with the copper as well, is because I've never felt younger in my life. I smoke in a masochistic way. Divorce is almost. I'm getting divorced at 40. It's my midlife crisis. But the point is that I never though felt healthier mentally, physically, spiritually. And we both have a lot of theories as to why in each area the copper really helps magnify your health, or why the Egyptians did call it the fountain of youth. We know now on the physical health side, but looking at the mental health side, that's where I started becoming more obsessed with learning the practices of yoga, or the Ayurvedic medicine, and the Egyptians. This copper coming from Egypt. I found that the whole story fascinating, and looking into the first the godfather of medicine, who the father of copper. The father of medicine was Hippocrates. So it's amazing what you can find on Google if you just know what to research. And you and I worked on some formulas, and you and I understanding the copper potentials. And I know that I brought to you a lot of different ingredients that I found that just really aren't rarely used.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're looking at what we combine with the copper to make it work even better. We're looking at what can slow down the oxidation of copper, so we know for sure it makes it into the cell in its ionized form. But that's just so intriguing and so interesting. I mean, now I take it because I mean I use myself as a guinea pig every single day for something, and a wise man once said, if something doesn't work, it's just as valuable information if you find something that does work. But finding something that does work is spectacular. And I could remember over 2 Christmases ago, a lot of things were happening at that time that were extremely stressful, and I had a ton of chocolate around the house, and so I didn't want to gain weight. So what I was doing was taking 2 copper pills every time I ate a chocolate, and I actually ended up losing weight over Christmas.
Yeah.
So and I know that's because you're utilizing.
Because you were trying to see how the copper would expedite the burning of the
right, utilizing the sugar instead of storing it, using it.
Nice.
And it seemed like I burned calories just even at rest much better. And it has to do with, I know it has to do with the.
Well, I mean, you're looking great, Brett, and I mean, I know you're checking out my guns right now. My son's out, guns out.
You are pretty cut there.
I'm surprised at how cut I am, actually, and one day I would love to again get you that lab, and we can get some of this proven. But science and medicine have been saying for the longest time how important ATP energy is for your cell. And for cellular, defense of viruses and bacteria, for energizing processes of repair and healing. So that's the other way that this is good for athletes as well. Creatine is not bioavailable. In fact, so far there's no bioavailable ATP product on the market. So ATP booster, while we don't manufacture synthesized ATP. But the branding behind it is that it's a daily supplement boost of ATP for your cellular energy offense and your cellular defense.
So, and you'll be selling that as ATP booster?
Yeah, at atpbooster.com.
And so basically, you're looking, people with Lyme, fibromyalgia, arthritis, like everybody that I work with, they can take this for the same exact.
Yeah.
But basically, what you're trying to do is you're trying to work with people to increase the dosing during rigid activity, and trying to actually apply this medication slightly differently by increasing the dosing at specific times of high need and increasing endurance.
Right.
Not just treating wellness, but actually helping the athlete in a legal way.
Oh, well, absolutely. Well, this is 510, or sorry, this is FDA. This is FDA 910, no objection, approved copper, as you know. And so when all the other compounds that are being used in other products and are being researched, we know that those are non-bioavailable copper compounds, although they found some success in them. Same with like creatine and such. Now, has anybody ever really tested what daily 30, accessing 30 ATP through electron transport chain deliberately is like? No. I mean, this is where further clinicals, further markets need to be developed. And, I bought the websites basically to handle a lot of them because when you add this copper to a formula in skin, when you add it to a formula in neuro health, in muscular health and building.
It seems to work everywhere. Even in antibiotics, they're taking.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. In fact, we're working with a professor at one of the major universities right now who got a couple $1 million to study copper. They were using copper 2. Of course, we called them up immediately and offered them some copper 1. What they're finding out is that all forms of copper and even silver and some other metals, when mixed with antibiotics that bacteria are resistant to, become susceptible to that antibiotic. And sometimes the potency of the antibiotic is hundreds, if not thousands of times more potent.
Right.
But what I forgot to ask you was about when you were putting it on your hair, if it helped your hair.
Oh, well, it did. I mean, your audience can't see, but and I wish
I can get some of your pictures and I'll put them up.
We should do it, and I really wish I had at the time more professional photos that could really take that kind of look that I knew visibly was the loss and now this regrowth. But the regrowth, the pictures are pretty good for just off my phone. Same with my scar. I mean, I got smacked in the face with a boat. I mean, I
So
could have died.
the boat was bobbing up and down.
Yeah,
And
yeah, and she put weight on it. So the whole back of the boat.
So basically, the whole boat smacked you on your cheek.
Oh yeah, right under the eye on my right
split
side.
open your skin, and we have a picture of that. You got stitches.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm looking at you right now. I haven't even looked for the scar.
I know.
I'm like scrutinizing your face.
Listen.
And I don't even know which side of your face.
You don't even know which side is my bad side with acne either, do you?
No.
I mean, so like it's
No, your acne
it's the acne's gone.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like I can tell around my period, I'll get a few swollen, you know, pores and you know on occasion, but geez, nothing like before. So you know, with the scar, what I did there now. Again, I think I aggressively, you know, started out with a higher copper application. But I was like, if there's anything on this planet, because everything I know is around this copper, and so if there's anything on this planet that would do, you know, a good job on this scar, it's going to be that. And it blows my mind. I forgot, Brett. I forgot about that until I started looking back at my photos. I'm like, oh, isn't that crazy? How do you forget a freaking injury to your face as a woman even? As a woman, you're like...
Well, that's because there's no scar. At least I don't see one.
I forgot.
I know I'm going to have to take your makeup off. And
I will. Let's get some makeup-free photos after this. I will happily provide them. I mean, because of course, I'd be excited because we, you know, your knowledge and my face, you know, we're gonna put some things together.
Well, you know what? It's better your face than mine. That's all I can say. Now, listen. I wanted to go in before we ran out of time. I wanted to go in to, you know, I kind of wanted to talk about the sexual aspect of the copper.
Yeah.
And as a medical professional, I understand the role that niacin may play in enhancing male performance because that's a vasodilator. That makes sense to me. It makes absolutely biochemical logic to me. And then the copper, I think externally can act as, I might say, an irritant to the urethra, which then creates a stimulation too that may enhance somebody's experience. Is that, are those products up yet, or will they be up soon?
So what's going on?
Not that I really want.
No, I know you're dying here, Brett, to try the Expect Better Sex Lube. But you know, since we're also guinea pigs and try them out ourselves, you know, we're about ready to. We'll focus on that a little bit, but Expect Better Sex. You know, the whole Expect Better brand is a vision, and it's because this copper is so pure. And it is such a gift to this world, and it's such a gift to human bodies and ourselves, and we need it. We need it because the world is failing us, and our knowledge of medicine is failing us, our knowledge in marketing and being susceptible to false products and false advertising. And there has become a need for, you know, a voice of science and a voice of understanding and getting back to the root of natural medicine.
Now the question I have then, which leads right into, is this, I'm afraid to use the term, I don't think you're going to use that on your CD that you make, your workout CD, but you use the word yogasm?
Bogasm. So I call it bogasm. And, well, yogasm is already taken, but, you know, really, I always said I'm going to go do my boga class now. I'm a little too obsessed with Egyptian history. And understanding their, what I could find and what I've researched, if their sexual energy harnessing practices, you know, that's where the Expect Better Sex, to go back to it, you know, comes from. Too, is expectbettersex.com isn't just going to be products that are natural and proven in efficacy and quality, but there will also be, like the other Expect brand websites, there will be the science and information to back it up. So I wanted to help women best utilize their bodies in the ways they were made to be utilized.
What's this bogasm about then?
So bogasm is a combination of ballet, balance, yoga, tai chi, and the end result is a full body orgasm. I mean, it's just simply put. I've taken multiple practices and given even, I could barely stand on that leg. I had a freaking cane. Ask my kids. I had a handicap placard. And I always loved looking at people doing yoga. I'm like, I want to be like that one day, and I never thought I could. So, when my inflammation was gone, and I started to see, okay, the copper patent says, it'll help improve elasticity, flexibility. Let's try it. Help with muscle growth. Let's try it. I started yoga lightly, and then in different meditation and breathing, and then I started incorporating a few things. And what I learned, even through some of the other mentors I like to study and follow, is the new research, the groundbreaking science that they're discovering in repairing our brain, our subconscious mind, and trauma and things like that. So I took some Dr. Joe Dispenza, and I took some Tai Chi practices, and I took some like Bikram yoga, and then I took some traditional ballet, and I just developed a program to help balance not just the body, the weak side of the body, the opposite side of the body, but the opposite side of the brain. And with the breathing and the stretching, I mean, it's full body, mind, and spirit orgasmic. It's simply put.
Well, I can't wait to see the video. I recommend that you get it in a digital form so people can just download it off your websites.
Mm-hmm.
And if you come out with that and it passes the my test,
yeah,
because I how I am.
Well, yeah.
But I would like to be able to put a digital download on my website, the Kimber Touch site, and market your.
Oh, thank you.
For you as well. I think it's remarkable what you're doing. Your recovery is nothing short of a miracle. I do believe in miracles because I've seen them.
Yeah.
And you're familiar with my cancer work.
Yeah, I am.
And you were up at the retreat once or twice.
Oh, I'm not only just familiar with your cancer work, but your cancer work was validated to me when I met a particular unnamed person and an unnamed entity who also was working on the same cancer treatments that were derived from the same physician scientists that you studied and loved and you developed your practices from. And I found that just uncanny and non-coincidental in the universe. Me meeting some guy like you, doing the work you're doing. Well, first meeting the copper, meeting a guy like you, then meeting somebody totally unrelated who understands the same thing, and it's so underground. It's so true.
I know who you're talking about, and I accused him of hacking my computer and stealing my secrets.
Mine is hacked as well, as you know.
And he was kind of a bigwig. He was the president of one of a foundation that we don't want to mention the name right now. No, we don't.
But the point is that foundation, they're essentially pharma. They're essentially going to be making a lot of money off of these
off of my ideas.
Well, your ideas, yes, your ideas done that, but it's just for the breakdown of cost and attacking a certain specific amount of cancers, what you say, positively charged cancers, and following that approach. I've seen validation from the outside on your work.
It's really. I was as shocked as you. You invited me to a board meeting. I was shocked they let me in. I wasn't dressed in my 3-piece suit, which for those kind of board meetings I like to be there as. I like to be the best dressed person in the room. I think that creates an advantage for you. But to sit there and listen to somebody go through your entire protocol that you've been using, haven't made that public, and they're using terminologies that only you use, makes you wonder where they got that protocol.
But at the same time, I just, like I said, I took it as validation. Mm-hmm. Thank you, God, and thank you, universe, because we're onto something. I mean, we're onto something that, is noble. It's a valiant effort to restore natural medicine, is truthful medicine, and is proven, science-proven medicine that's affordable, and it's accessible, and it's understandable. And that's the whole thing behind expect better products. Like, expect to learn, expect, the best that we can find that are science-proven, that are proven by ourselves, or that are proven in quality and efficacy. And then, of course, I since I do love word magic, I love to throw that word expect there, because I want to give people hope that really the science is here to
Yeah.
clean our blood, our bodies, and make
and-
us feel young again.
And in my opinion, the word expect is not hope. It's like beyond hope.
Yeah.
It's like hope is when there's doubt,
Yeah.
and so you're hoping that your doubts don't play out.
Oh, yeah.
But get rid of the doubt and expect results. And I really believe that it's not just hope anymore.
Right.
It's literally what you're saying. Expect results, no matter what you're doing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And there's a whole CBD line. Ultimately, we the products, and we know that this copper is like a super agent with CBD. And man, I want to help our local economy. And so, Expect Better products will also have, or Expect Better CBD and Expect Better products probably will have white label a charitable brand. So I want to build our local CBD commerce and economy, and I want to also at the same time begin opening the doors for cannabis and hemp to be able to support charities. And I've already spoken with a few veteran nonprofits, and they're really excited to be able to be a part of the movement and a part of being able to bring the healing to their audience of veterans.
Well, Corinda, my role as an advocate for cancer patients was every day they would come up and send me emails and call me on the phone. Well, what about pawpaw? What about, which is an herb? What about this herb? What about that?
Like I would
How
do.
about this? How about that? How about this? And they would just keep and so I had to be able to answer those questions using biochemistry, because that's the only way you can answer questions accurately without theory. You had to be able to connect the biochemical dots. So what I did for natural medicine by targeting and identifying the active parts of these molecules that everybody's taking for their cancers, and how much you need to take.
Yeah.
But the same holds true now with CBD. Understanding how it works, why it works, is as important as any double-blind placebo. Because if you can explain it on paper, you don't need double-blind placebo.
Right. Well, and come on. We know how difficult the FDA has made it to
compete with big pharma.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So at least we've got this one. We've got this one. Can't take it away from us, but let's now we got to just transition the mics.
I'm going to knock on wood on that one, okay?
No. I'm here, and my whole life in accumulation is to come to this moment because, listen, I've always wanted to help veterans in ways beyond how they were being helped, and I figured it out, and I was the first to be funded for it. I unfortunately had to shut down the nonprofit temporarily. But as I build this, it was helping the veterans in mind behind everything. It was how I need the money to be able to help them so that they can access what will, help heal them.
I'll tell you how you get the money. We're going to go ahead and let my people know that are fans of some of the channels that I operate. Let them know about your website, and let them know that this copper is now available at not just Kimber Touch, but also over there at ATP Booster, and it's probably going to be on all your other websites.
Eventually, yes.
Yeah. And I do want to say, I have never recommended anything to anybody that I haven't seen work myself. I don't do hearsay, and you get that over the internet. So and so said this will work, and you get so many recommendations for your chronic illness. You can't begin to try all of those things that are being recommended. But what if all of those had a common element, which was oxygen? And what if CBDs were fat-soluble oxygen? Well, now you have something that's unique, because I sit and hook my coconut oil up to my ozone machine, and I bubble ozone through it just to get what? An oxygenated oil. But guess what? CBD is already oxygenated oil.
And it apparently fixed my face. It helped my hair. It, and the other products. So ATP Booster with this cream, which we're sold out of right now. And what I love about that the most is when I would work out And I have my psoriasis. I was supposed to get stem cell in my shoulder, and shoulders are a pain to fix. Let me tell you.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and they're very painful
With emphasis
to push.
on pain,
You
yes.
just don't want to push and stretch it out.
No.
But I did it because this is the number one nerve pain cream in the world. Why? The power of what you were just saying. The oxygenated CBD, the copper one, and boom. And I tested this cream twice a day. People around me watched me do it. I have journal notes, and I would work out. I had my issue with my knee and issue with my shoulder. I put the cream on, I feel better after 5 minutes, so I'd go and do it again later that evening.
Well, I can remember, Quinta, one time I went over to the house where you were making some of those creams, and we were going to the festival, and there was a booth there that you were allowed to feature these creams at, and a guy came up with carpal tunnel and his girlfriend, and he had a splint on his arm, and we were telling him how it probably could help him, and they go, well, $79 for the 2 ounces is quite a bit of money. Yes, it is, but if it's non-toxic and it works, and you don't have to put it in your mouth,
Yeah.
What's that price worth? No, nothing else can do that. So the girl says, well, how do we figure out its work? And I opened up the can and I said, well, let's put some on.
Yeah.
It should work within 10 minutes.
Yeah, and the thing too is if they used that entire $80 tin of that formula, that
there's a chance it could have
yeah.
healed
Oh yeah,
and
because
repaired. I can tell you that night, we spent 4 hours there at this moon. It was called the Full Moon Festival, which was right in line with Higher Truth, right?
Yeah, I know.
Anything with full
So
moon.
buddy, hey, shout out John Luther. Love you. Thank you for doing that.
I'm there with you.
Oh, God bless
But-
COVID bleeding.
But I stepped away from the booth to go get something to eat, something probably bad for me, and I turned around, and that guy with his arm in the sling came back to your booth, and they were doing selfie pictures with you guys and him taking pictures because he felt like a miracle had just happened,
Yeah.
and he wanted his selfie with you guys. But yet, I'm the one who gave him the cream. I didn't get it in the selfie, so I'm a little jealous.
I love this journey that I landed on. I'm dedicated. I know you're dedicated. I've seen your work and I've seen the dedication of healing people naturally behind that. And it's a huge motivation for me, number one. And then number two, it's exciting because it's scary, exciting, but it's fascinating. It's fulfilling all of my universal wish desires of wow.
Yeah.
And this is real.
Yeah.
And how do you get people to understand this? How do we get this out there without getting in trouble and
without getting shot,
without
yeah.
getting hacked, without
Yeah.
getting but we're going to try.
Yeah.
We're going to try it and
Well,
expect better products. I hope is going to be a good job at that.
I think all you can do is try, and if they beat us down and they shut us down, then we just the torch gets passed, and there will be somebody in our footsteps rallying the same cry.
No, well, you know what? Listen, the Mito Synergy. I don't know if we're naming names or anything, but the one who alchemizes this copper to be in what it is today for us, the stable form of copper, one non-toxic, bioavailable copper we cannot and will not get from 30 heads of kale. Is in the copper that has the potentials to really help humanity and the earth. There's potentials there in various ways. So it is my drive to help in my whole life. I'm devoting my whole life to this copper. Just that's it. I got to make sure the world gets it. I got to make sure the world can afford it. They have access to it. They have access to the information. The patent holder deserves the Nobel Peace Prize.
Well, he didn't discover it.
No, he didn't.
But he sure managed to get a hold of it and control it. And I'm grateful, and it's helped me immensely. And I guess in closing, all I really want to say is, I'm still in amazement on the way that the CBD cream and the copper cream mixed together helped people. I mean, I was brought up in a profession where nothing topical really helped.
Yeah.
And then they started putting anti-inflammatories in your cream,
Oh
right?
my gosh! Did you know? Even I just noticed. I had an old bottle of Nair. You know, Nair is it's shaveless lotion.
Right.
So I tried it again, and the smell instantly I knew there's something really bad. You want to know what's in it? Formaldehyde. Formaldehyde going through your skin, your greatest organ.
That's a neurotoxin.
Oh my
that's
gosh.
a kidney toxin.
And I was trying to avoid all that because of the hair loss. I was like, as a woman, when you start losing your hair, it's very difficult. So,
Well, I mean, for a woman, you had all the curses,
Yeah.
You had all the curses, and now you don't look cursed. You look blessed.
I am very blessed.
And I'm shocked. I'm surprised, but yet I expected, like you, I expected your wellness.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, you helped me reach my full potential, and no, you did though, because I mean, if you never taught this to me and never introduced and opened my mind to the things in the universe that are just the bottom barrel of the truth as we know it in science, then it point me into these directions. I have you to thank for how good I look and how honestly how capable I am. My brain is sharper than ever. I'm 40 years old. I'm supposed to be on a slow decline now, right? I'm supposed to be on a slow decline.
And I don't know if I mentioned this, but one of the investors in the copper, she put down a significant money to buy up a portion of that when it helped her son he was pretty much terminal with the Lyme, and she said that she was younger, and she actually applied the copper to a big, huge, ugly mole on her cheek. She had this like wicked witch mole.
Oh my gosh! As if she doesn't follow you.
Oh no! It was like worse than any TB test I've ever read.
Wow.
But she was putting the copper directly on that, and that mole flaked off in 14 days and left nothing but pink, pure skin underneath.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And so we got to get those pictures too. But until then, I just wanted to thank you for coming up, and I want to thank you for being a fan of Higher Truth, and I want to thank you for your just doggedness and your tenacity and your ability not to give up. Off topic, what do you think of my bug out?
I love the secret lab. You keep calling it bug out, but I like calling it the secret lab, the secret lair. I mean, we need more people like you in the world to do this for us, and with that bravery and that courage to try to figure things out. And so let's I'm looking forward to working together to really get more of this information out to people, really start getting people to know what we know.
Well, I tell you what, if anybody wants to try any of that cream or especially the copper, you can go to atpbooster.com.
Correct.
Or kimbertouch.com, and those products are available for you there. We'd like you to patronize atpbooster.com. It's a brand new website, brand new open, but we just really want everybody to be successful who touches this, and I have no doubt that you will be, as long as the powers that be don't come along and squash me like a bug. We'll be doing okay.
Hey, you know what? I'm scared, and when it comes to even the chaos in the world today, again, from what I've read, I feel more confident being in public, knowing that my cells hit the electron transfer chain. My cells are operating with 34 ATP compared to 99.9% of the rest of everybody else. So I have that going for me. I'm not saying anything else about it, but that I love the confidence that copper can help give you. For the cold sore remedy, that'll be there up there on atpbooster.com. That's going to be so exciting.
And we're going to get some electrical stim machines. We're going to get great prices on those. I've used almost every one. I know which ones for me work the best. So
your oxygenated products, I mean, they're an absolute must. And we're gonna come up with some bomb formulas. I mean, literally, we're gonna bomb humanity with something that'll surprise them that they cannot get at a drugstore yet. And I don't think I want a drugstore. I know how big box chain retailers work. But this is gonna blow their minds once they take it. And since the copper one capsule, ATP booster capsules are are FDA 910 no objection approved. They are safe daily supplement, and take them daily. Drive yourself to daily take them. Challenge yourself to find out in 1 month. If you know what how do you feel? Do you feel smart, like sharper? Do you have less inflammation, less pain? I mean, and everybody's different. You know, it depends how.
Does your weight stabilize? Things like that.
Yeah, anything.
Yeah,
Tell us in 30 days, every day taking it, you're not anywhere improved.
And one last thing before we sign off, just a disclaimer that on the copper, if you do have spirochetes, you could have a die-off reaction, which makes you feel kind of cruddy for a while. If you get like a worsening of symptoms, that's not the copper hurting you. That's the copper killing off toxic
But
organisms.
you know what? You know, I found fascinating. You knew that I was helping somebody with MRSA in their foot, and he ended up having to have the antibacterial packs or pods, you know, in the MRSA infection in his ankle, and you know, so he's been on the copper. Been on copper. And I can't wait to go to his next appointment, and then the copper cream has been helping, you know, him tremendously. Even the last time I was over there, I was really, really happy and not surprised. So, you know,
I mean, can you imagine a wound dressing that's impregnated with the copper?
Well, they get that's his 14th surgery, and how many antibiotics do you have to go on each time you have a surgery?
Yeah, always.
So, poor guy.
Yeah.
And you know, so I knew if there's anything in this world, let's throw a stable electron at it. Let's throw, you know, oxygenated CBD at it. Let's go and see what this can do, expecting it's going to trigger something.
Yeah, you can expect wellness at all of these websites and from all of these products. This isn't hype. This is stuff we've seen, and I wouldn't be endorsing it and be damaging or putting my reputation in jeopardy by making a false claim. So once again, Corinda, you look great. You look fantastic.
So do you.
And yes, I've been sitting here. I've been fattening up for the apocalypse.
Well, you know, it is.
Thank you all again. We hope you catch us next week. Until next time, be prepared, not scared.